At the end of Itch, Itchingham Loft, my hero, has found these very dangerous radioactive rocks, 7 of them altogether. And he's decided to get rid of them. And he's got rid of them where he thinks he's done it on his own. He thinks nobody else knows. It's very important that no one else knows because he doesn't trust anybody. That's the key thing. And so he's found what he thinks is the perfect place, and he's put them down a place called the Woodingdean Well, which is the deepest hand-built well in the world. It's as deep as the Empire State Building is tall. It genuinely exists, and is now under Nuffield Hospital in Sussex. And he thinks they're safe, but he was rescued, and he doesn't know how he was rescued, and he doesn't know who rescued him. So at the beginning of Itch Rocks, he has this secret, and he needs to protect the secret, and clearly the government know that he has a secret, and clearly they know that other people will try and get it from him. Where have you hidden it? Essentially a nuclear startup kit in a bag. And so, he goes to school with an armed guard. He has MI5 looking after him, and that's where we find him. And he quickly realizes that not only are they not out of danger, but actually that they are in great danger, and so is he. Itch is in the first book, he's 14-year-old boy. He's now 15, and he's a bit geeky, and so it would have been quite easy to make this a very blokey book. And so Chloe, who's 11/12, and his cousin Jacqueline, 14/15, were always going to be, the three of them had to be at the heart of the book. And Chloe and Jacqueline balance him out. And Chloe and Jack give him a bit more street credibility, and not credibility, but they're kind of streetwise, and he knows what's happening, and they kind of look after him from that point of view. And I think Chloe is very important because he doesn't have many friends, and so his life revolves around his sister and his cousin, and so he has sort of been forced to have a good relationship with his sister. He has an older brother, Gabriel, who does turn up, and it turns up a bit more in the third book, but it's just very important that Chloe works. And so Chloe and Jacqueline, and now Lucy turns up as well. So Lucy is this, barely mentioned in the first book, but is this friend from the year above who suddenly turns hostile and is very aggressive, and no one really knows why. So the story revolves around the 4 of them, really, so Itch and 3 girls. So I just think it was very important to get, you start using phrases like gender balance, people go, yeah, very boring. But I just think I just wanted to have really cool girls around a slightly geeky boy. They stand out, they're a bit different, they don't fit in. Itch never will fit in, which is the way a lot of kids feel when they're at school. They're not part of the cool crowd. So, it was getting their relationship right was at the heart of Itch Rocks, as well as making the story, dangerous and exciting. That's the baffling thing, really. I wasn't even slightly interested in science. I think you're influenced a lot by your teachers, and I had good history teachers, and I ended up being interested in history, did history at university, and that was where my passion was. Then when I was on 5 Live, I increasingly made a point of talking to scientists because they weren't getting their fair share. I just didn't think they were given enough time. And if you're trying to explain a very complicated and complex scientific idea like the Hadron Collider, for example, don't give them 3 minutes. You can't do anything in 3 minutes. So I would give them half an hour or 40 minutes. Anyway, so when I came off that show, I had an interest in science which I didn't have before. So then when my 10-year-old came back from school only interested in science, it seemed that I had a path. If I was going to write a story, that was the path I had to go down. I mean, I've interviewed authors for a long time, and on 5 Live we did 2 a week. Now with the Radio 2 Book Club we do 1 every other week. But they're bigger books, and it's given a bigger treatment. And I couldn't point to anyone and say that's the main influence on me. I don't think so. In fact, most of the time that I've been writing the books, I have a voice in my head saying, who the hell do you think you are? You're a radio presenter, stop writing, you know. So I guess I have been. You are influenced and absorb everything that you take on, but I couldn't actually point to anyone and say that bit's like that, or this bit is copied from wherever, you know. So I guess being around authors has some kind of impact, but I don't think there's been any one or any two authors that I could point to. I've almost finished the third book, which at the moment, well, on my computer it's called It's Scratched, but I just, at my event here, asked them about prospective titles for the third book, and overwhelmingly they didn't think that was the best one. So the third Itch book, same as the second one, picks up where the first book finishes. The third book starts as soon as the second book finishes, so they run together, and they are all part of the same story. I think it's sort of almost a cliche to say it's a bit darker, but I think it's scarier and darker. And I think there'll be one more after this, so I think there'll be 4 in total. What else can I say? There are enough clues in the second book, I think, to push people in the direction that I'm going. At the end of the second book, Itch says his next element is European, and the third book finds him in South Africa acquiring some European. So that's where it starts, and and then we go to Spain, and there's all kinds of stuff in there, none of which has been approved by the editor yet. So who knows? It might all get taken out.